Okay, so I have tested a ton of heated riding gear over many years, everything from the cheapest to very expensive. And I've tested it daily as a police motorcycle officer in cold weather, along with riding my personal Harleys and adventure bikes off duty. And I will tell you, not all heated gear is created equal. There is a plethora of cheap junk on Amazon and elsewhere, and I can tell you it will not last. So in this video, I'm going to go over the heated gear that I've tested, some of the issues and things to consider, and why one brand stands above all the rest. And I'll review the heated gear that I'm currently using and highly recommend. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. Ryan Urlacher here, lawabidingbiker.com. Always thank you. That's right, you, for checking back in. Okay, so I want to start with talking about my experiences with a lot of the cheaper gear. And this is what you're going to see all over online, and that is mobile warming stuff. Now, this is your bottom line, entry level. It's not going to last. I'll tell you that from experience. It's all over Alibaba, and you're going to see it that many companies are buying this gear, and they're from Alibaba, and they're just white labeling it with their brand, and they're throwing it on Amazon hoping to sell it. You'll see it in a lot of different stores. It's known because of the name, but again, absolute bottom line stuff. And I have not had good experiences with mobile warming stuff. And let me explain a little further. So this is one of the items I use that's discontinued from mobile warming back in the day. And this was nice. It's kind of like just a very top just for your core. And it was good for my police motorcycle. And the reason is I have to get something a little bit thinner and smaller. I can't wear a full vest because I have to put my bulletproof vest over it. So that it pushes against my body and heats my core. So a few of us have tried these. Now I will tell you, again, when I say cheap, cheap. It worked for a season. And I've been through, I don't know, 3 of these. And they just go bad. And you can expect to get a very short amount of time out of these. Other mobile warming gear and off-brand, or I should say white labeled gear, other motors officers tried, and it failed too. It worked for a while and it worked good while it worked, but it eventually went dead. One of the things that I'm very careful about and I don't like about mobile warming gear is a lot of the cheaper gear uses these crazy cheap lithium ion batteries. And you can see they're just like a plastic pack, and they just throw the wire up there and then it plugs in there. These things are constantly going bad. I feel like they're a fire hazard. I was always worried. I didn't charge overnight while I was asleep. I'd charge during the day. I don't know if that's a thing, but it just doesn't say quality when you get these in your hand. They're a little bit sketchy. I replaced so many of these. Not only did the jacket go bad, but these things went bad. So I had a bunch of these on hand. Oh, just real quick, make sure you hit that subscribe button and bell icon. Every time those are hit, another biker joins the revolution. We'd love to have you be part of it. And not only were the batteries cheap, the chargers that come with these things are super cheap when you get them in your hand. They're just like run of the mill. And again, this stuff's white labeled all over eBay and Amazon. It does have lights on it, but the lights usually lasted for a couple months, and then you'd plug it in and it wouldn't light and it wouldn't charge. And the problem with that, I just buy a few new of these and try them, and then they would charge. But that's the problem, is you couldn't tell half the time if it's charging. And then these batteries suck because they don't have any lights on them. There's no button to push like on your higher quality stuff to have the lights light up to see if this guy's fully charged. So there were many days where I was hoping it charged and it didn't, and then I didn't have a heated vest. So again, just very cheap stuff you're gonna see everywhere online. I would stay away from it if you can. And behind me here is just some more mobile warming stuff that we've tested over time. That's your jacket there. It comes with the same exact cheap chargers. They haven't changed anything there, run of the mill, and you will be replacing those. It does come with a little bit better batteries with some of the mobile warming gear, but they still feel pretty cheap when you get them in your hands in comparison to something like Gerbing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. When you get this battery in your hand, you're going to realize really quick just how quality this feels. And again, it's got the light on it so you can see where it's charged to and while it's charging. This is another version of the Gerbing battery, which goes in my heated shirt, which I'm excited to show you in a minute. A little bit different, but it does have lights too. It's activated when you plug it into the garment, and then it shows you where it's at, and of course, while it's charging. But you'll get these in your hand, very quickly realize the difference between quality and all this cheap heated gear stuff. All right, so now I want to talk to you about some of my favorite heated gear from Gerbing. And let me tell you, after testing all this gear over many years, Gerbing sets the standard for heated motorcycle riding gear. And no, the video is not sponsored. I don't know anybody at Gerbing. I literally just tested a lot of heated gear over the years. I know what I like, I know what works well, so I brought it right to the Law Abiding Biker store. And everything I talk about, I will link to in the description below for you. It's right from the Law Abiding Biker store. We definitely appreciate you shopping in our store. We are just a bootstrap company of bikers trying to help as many bikers as we can worldwide. It definitely helps us continue that mission, and we appreciate every single customer, and we'll take care of you. Oh, and just a quick reminder, if you purchase in the Law Abiding Biker store, there are some benefits. If you're not a Washington State resident, no sales tax, and anything over $100 free shipping opportunities you can take advantage of. So the first garment I want to talk to you about is my Gerbing 7 volt heated soft shell vest, a very versatile vest. And as you can see, it's very stylish, maybe because I'm so handsome, I don't know. But I want to tell you a little bit about it. This can be worn not only on motorcycles, and I wear it. This is a great one because it's battery powered. We'll get to the plug-in stuff in a bit in this video. We're also going to do a little bit of a comparison in a minute to Firstgear heated gear, which we are also carrying in the Law Abiding Biker store. There are some differences, but we're going to dive in deeper here in a minute. But for now, we'll stick with battery. I do wear this on my adventure bike because it doesn't have a heated gear plug-in at this time, and it works really well, or dirt bike, because I'm only wearing it for maybe the cool morning or whatever, and then I'm shedding it. But I really like this vest. I use it a lot when I'm out at the firearms range when it's cold. So a lot of different uses. It's just a very versatile garment. You can also use it all by itself. You can put a jacket over it, but it can also be used by itself. Riding, you do see some reflective material here, so it's set up for that. These are the nice quality batteries that come with good gear. And the way this vest works, these are the Gerbing batteries that you'll get. Some of the garments you'll see in a minute have buttons to push and different temperatures. Everything on this vest is controlled right down here at the battery. So I want to show you down here how this works. It basically just plugs in here, coming out of the pocket. And to turn this garment on, it's just a push and hold, and you'll see the batteries light up. From there, this is your settings. This is high right here, and then as you push it, it goes down to low and then back up to high. What I found on this is 4 lights is high. You're gonna get about 2 hours out of it. If you bump down 1 to 3/4, you'll get about 3 hours. If you bump down to half, about 4 hours, and then it bumps back up to high. That's just been my experience over many years. So with that said, I carry multiples of these batteries to be prepared, especially when I'm out on the range all day. Some other features, obviously it's got 2 really nice hand warming pockets. Also, it's where your battery goes right there. And then right up here, it's got a little breast pocket. And I was just realizing I turned it on because I'm getting very warm quickly here. Turn that guy off. The other thing you want to consider when buying all heated gear is you see this doesn't fit loosely on me. And one might say, that's a little tight on you. Well, it should be. If you get too loose of heated gear, you're not going to feel it. It needs to be pressed up against your core, and then you'll really notice the heat. And so something tight to my skin like this, I can feel it right away. Also, you don't want to wear like some insulated, garments underneath that's going to protect you from the heat. A t-shirt is usually what I wear, or just some, moisture wicking gear underneath, whatever you want to do there. But make sure it's something very thin, pressed up against your body so you can feel that heat. And not only is it pressed up against my body, but when I put a jacket or something over it, it's pressing even more. and it's locking the heat in, and you're gonna get the best results when you size it that way. So as far as sizing goes, it's completely up to you, but look at the sizing charts. And if you want it to fit a little bit tighter, again, in my case, I normally wear a large, I size down to a medium. But again, as you can see, it does look a little bit tighter. All right, and moving on to one of my favorite pieces of heated gear of all time from Gerbing. I'm wearing it. It is the heated shirt. Now, I've been using this for about 2 years, and during cold weather daily on my police motorcycle. The reason I like this shirt for that is because it is thinner, and remember, I have to put my Kevlar vest over the top of this, so I can't have something thick and bulky or it would just suffocate you basically. And this thing has worked phenomenally in that environment. I've also used it during the winter when I want to get out and ride the dirt bike, and also on my adventure bike, and while I was hanging Christmas lights. It's just very versatile, and it can fit really under anything. You'll see this garment I actually chose personally to get kind of my regular size. You'll see it is a little bit looser. So I went with the large because I'm normally a large. Now, the reason I did that on this is because I knew I'm never going to wear this standalone. I will always have something over this, whether it's a jacket or a coat or a vest, and it's going to be pushing it into my body. So I didn't have any issues. There again, you get to decide if you're gonna wear it standalone, you might wanna size down one. So now I wanna show you how the Gerbing heated shirt works and functions. It's a little bit different than the vest I just showed you. So if you come down here and take a look, there's a little pocket in the shirt where we hide the battery. That's the battery compartment. And then of course your cable comes out from that. And when I plug this guy in right there, you'll see no battery lights are on right now. But if we move up here, you'll see there's the power button right up here, which was nice because I can always reach down and feel for this button and hit it. And as soon as I power it on by pushing and holding, you'll see the red light comes on, and the lights on the battery now show how much charge we have in this particular battery pack. So this is high red. If I push it again, it turns kind of an orange color medium, and then green is low. Where I ran it most of the time, because it was pressed up against my body and I got the most battery life out of it, about 5 hours out of this bad boy on low. And I'm already feeling the heat immediately. This shirt is immediate. All the Gerbing gear is pretty darn immediate. And then to turn it off, it's just a push and hold, and you'll see it went off and the battery lights went off. But that battery just stashes in the side there, and to make sure it doesn't fall out, it's got a little zipper pocket in it, and super comfortable shirt. And again, just very, very versatile. You will not be disappointed with this garment. So real quick, let's talk Gerbing chargers. High quality, much better than the cheap stuff online. You'll know that when you get it in your hand. Also a very distinct raised LED light that is red when you're charging a battery. It will turn green when your battery is charged, giving you an indication of that. This is our single battery charger unit. You can also upgrade, available in the Law Abiding Biker store, to our dual charger. As you can see, one plug, it's split, it's got a Y, and you can charge 2 batteries simultaneously with this guy. So 2 of these, you can charge 4 batteries really quick overnight, be ready to go in the morning. So now I want to shift from battery heated gear to plug-in heated gear. What I'm wearing here is the Gerbing heated jacket liner in a medium. I normally wear a large. I size down. That's what I want to do because I want it tight against my body to heat my core. So I've still got a lot of information to throw at you here when it comes to plug-in gear. Now, battery gear is great. It's versatile, running and gunning out on the range, a short motorcycle ride, but there's also some drawbacks to it, and that is we've got batteries and they are going to die, and we've got to carry extra batteries now, and we're riding down the road with a group of guys. It's very hard to change batteries and get your new battery, and it might not be safe anyways. So those are just some considerations. At all times on the Harley you see behind me, 365 days a year, even when it's 110 degrees here, my heated jacket liner from Gerbing is always in my saddlebag. It doesn't need batteries. It doesn't need to be charged. I can plug it in at a moment's notice. I don't like riding cold. And so that might be something you consider. And even on our long summer trips, which it's usually very warm depending on where we're going, but sometimes you leave a location, your body's not acclimated, it's down to 55, 60 degrees, you're riding through the mountains. Having that with you at all times is key. I want to talk a little bit about heated gloves and heated pants and things like that. Now, we carry those all in the store. Heated gloves and heated pants and heated socks and all that kind of stuff is really going to be dependent on your needs. If you're riding a non-fairing bike and you're really exposed to the wind, well, then those things may play a bigger role. I'm going to tell you what I do on my 24 Street Glide and kind of how I'm set up and why I'm set up the way I am. And it's just some things to consider before you go out and purchase your gear. So I only run the heated jacket liner. I don't run the pants, socks. I've tested them in the past and all that on different bikes, but I don't run the gloves. And so I find it very sufficient, even when I'm riding in 32 degrees freezing or below, is this suffices. And the reason it suffices is I also have my beloved Saddlemen heated road sofa seat. I also have Harley OEM heated grips. Now, a couple things with that. The reason that works for me is it's all about getting your core temperature up and your blood pumping through your body. And so I've got my core heated with this. I've got heat coming through my gloves, into my hands and down my arms. And then the seat is, heating my rear side and my legs and all that. And with that accumulation of all the heat from different sources, keeps me plenty toasty, even riding hours in that freezing weather. And just to mention, if you are interested in putting Harley heated grips on your bike, we do have a very detailed tutorial video for that. I'll link to it in the description below for you. Also, if you're interested in that road sofa heated seat, amazing. Also, we carry it in the Law Abiding Biker store. All right, so I mentioned earlier in the Law Abiding Biker store, right alongside Gerbing, we're carrying Firstgear heated gear. A lot of different options for that too. The reason I can put this in our store and recommend it is because I did test this for many years before Gerbing, and it's solid gear and it works well. With that said, for the same price as the Gerbing jacket, the Firstgear costs about the same. So the pricing wise, they're about the same. But what I find just through my experience is this jacket, when you get it in your hands compared to this, the materials are different and it just feels higher quality. The Gerbing heated jacket liner is built with a durable, wind-resistant nylon chassis and a mini ripstop nylon shell for superior durability. It features a drop tail back design to prevent it from riding up in the seated position, ensuring better coverage and warmth. In contrast, the Firstgear heated jacket liner lacks the mini ripstop nylon construction and drop tail design. But I don't think, with that said, that you're going to be disappointed in Firstgear if that's the choice you make. All right, so now I want to move into the functioning of the plug-in heated gear. It varies a little bit from Gerbing to Firstgear. And don't worry, in a moment, I will move into wireless controllability of this gear. But right now, we're just going to talk about onboard ability to control the heat levels and turn it on. So on the Gerbing, if I unzip this, inside is a little pocket here, and I already unzipped it, but this you're going to need with it. This is you have to have to control the heated vest, and you can see there's some other stuff in there. But basically, this guy right here plugs into the pigtail coming off your battery or your bike. It's your standard plug. Goes into this, powers it, and then this guy right here, you can see this is separate. This plugs into the jacket itself, and now you're able to control the heat levels on your jacket. So to show you a little further how the controller works, I am plugged into my Harley. I have my accessory power on because I'm not direct to the battery. Don't worry, we'll discuss all that in a minute. But since I'm plugged in, if you want to come in here, I'll show you. Now, obviously, this is the controller. You could do different components. This guy would go into another plug in the jacket which would then do your gloves and pants or something like that. Again, I'm not using any of that, but that's what this side's for. It's dead right now. Now this side I have plugged in directly to my jacket. The way you turn this guy on is depending on which either side. They can both be controlled independently, which is nice. You can have your pants hotter than your jacket or whatever there. But since I'm plugged into this side, that's the side I'm going to use. I'm just going to push and hold, and you'll see it goes right to the number 1, and then that's lowest heat. And then as I push it, you can see I can bump it all the way up to level 9. And then when I hit it again, it returns to A. Don't worry. That's wireless. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But if I push it again, it goes back to the number 1. And then to turn it off, it's just push and hold and it goes off. I just want to discuss this setup a little bit further. Obviously, that goes to your bike. We already showed you that. I'm plugged in here, and as you can see, it says jacket on it because there's 2 guys coming out of here. So I want my jacket. This guy right here is, you can see, that's for your other accessory. In this case, it says gloves, and you could plug that into the other port there. And also, if you are going to do gloves, right up here in the sleeve is where you come out of here, and that's where you could plug in your gloves. So let's get in even a little bit deeper with this setup. So this is a Y splitter, and we sell these in the law-abiding biker store. You may need one, you may need a couple, it depends on your setup. So basically, like I showed you, this is going to my jacket, heating my jacket. This one is going at this point to my gloves. Now, what you can do with that Y splitter is, remember, you've got heated pants and heated socks, heated gloves, you've got different accessories. So just for example, let's say I wanted to control my heated jacket and my pants at the same level. Well, I would just pull this out, I would put a Y splitter, and then in the end of the Y splitter, 2 coming off, I would plug in my jacket liner, and I would then plug in the port to my pants. And thus this side would control my jacket and pants at the same level. Also, if you wanted to do that setup, you could split this side, your glove side, and split it into 2, and then you could control your gloves and your socks if you wanted. So again, the way the setup is completely up to you and how many items you want to control. Okay, so now to talk about the awkwardness of all this. Not unique to Gerbing, but when you're going to do the wired connection, remember this is your controller, so it only has so much slack. That's about it coming out of my jacket. So you want to adjust your heat going down the road, you're getting cold or hot. That becomes an issue because this is in a pocket inside, zipped up, plus you have another jacket over this. And so unless you want to try to reach up inside there and guess where you're at, you know, you may be able to try to mount this, but man, that really ties you to, I don't think there's enough really to do that. You got wires everywhere, especially if you have splitters. Okay, enough said about that. So the solution is, I highly recommend this. It is what I use. And I would add an additional wireless controller. So you can just button all of this up right in your jacket and just leave it. And then you can have this mounted somewhere. In my case, I just put some Velcro on the top of it. That's actually covering the Gerbing logo there, but and I just Velcro it right to my dash, so it's always there and I can reach up and control. And again, you have 2 different sides. The white side on this, because down here on my jacket, it has the white stickers. It corresponds, that's going to do my jacket. And then your other side, your gray one corresponding there, is going to do your second one, or your gloves, or whatever you're going to do with that. And so it makes it very easy to just reach up. You can turn it on from here and control the different heat levels with that simple dial. I also want to mention this does take a battery, and it is a CR2032 little round flat battery. There's a compartment right on the bottom that you can open up and replace that. When you get it, there's going to be a factory sticker over here. Looks very stock. It kind of hides the compartment, so I peeled that off so I can access that compartment. To get the functionality of this jacket and the wireless remote, you're going to have this guy, your main manual controller, and this. And very easy to pair together. Let me show you how. Okay, so we're plugged into my bike again so that the main manual unit is powered. I have my wireless controller. Very easy to pair this guy. So all I'm going to do is take these 2 buttons. Again, I only need to pair one side. You can do one side. but I'll just do both sides so you know how to do that. But you want the A's to come up. So I'm going to push these gray buttons and the A's come up. So that's saying that it's ready to pair. And then all I do, my white side is my jacket. I turn it on. You'll see it came up with the level. That means that's paired. The other side I turn on, and that came up and it's paired. And so really cool, the way you know it's paired is you can turn these dials up, and as you turn it up, you'll see my jacket, the levels go up. Doesn't really mean much because it's in your pocket, but it's just a good way to say, hey, is this thing paired? And you can see the levels a little bit delayed, but going up. And then obviously when I turn that off, it goes off, and I turn that off. So you never need to do anything down here if you have this guy, which is why this to me is an absolute must add on. All right, so from my years of experience testing heated gear, I'm gonna make a comparison between Firstgear and Gerbing in this case. The nice thing about Gerbing heated gear is it has redundancy. And so let me explain. So let's just say this battery goes dead or unpairs, as we know wireless things can do now and then. You would be stuck with no heat. Now, because we can just put this out of the picture, we could literally still go down the road and manually control our heated gear. And that's huge to me, is having a backup system. So when it comes to Firstgear, a little bit different, no redundancy. And I will tell you from personal experience, it has happened to several of us. So it does not have a main manual controller. What happens is you have the box if you want to go wireless, and it comes with a little brick, and it goes right up here in the breast area. That's your basic wireless brick, and it plugs into the jacket. And so this controller, they do make a dual too, which we carry in our store. This is the single just for the jacket, but you turn this on, it tells the jacket to turn on and off, and you can control the temperature. If this battery goes dead or it unpairs for whatever reason, you could be dead in the water. Now you could try to repair it, but that hasn't always worked. And so you're on a long 10-day trip cross country, it's super cold, you are without heat. With that said, at least the Firstgear, the only redundancy it has is if you did just plug the jacket on, it's gonna heat to its very lowest level. So at least you would get some sort of heat, but you're not gonna be able to turn it up. So things to consider with long distance touring and heated gear. Okay, we are not completely done with wiring. You may have seen in this pocket, there's also a 3.5 millimeter jack. What that was for, and kind of still is, there was a thermo gauge that was offered at one time. And basically it was a Bluetooth brick, and there was a smartphone app, and you could basically do like a thermostat. As long as you had that smart brick in there, you could tell it on your smartphone app, hey, keep it at 72 degrees. And that would talk to this, and it would keep the jacket at a particular level. Now, from all our research, that was many years ago. It seems that has been abandoned. It's available nowhere online. But in the future, if they do bring that back, we will certainly add it to the Law Abiding Biker store. It seems cool in theory. I kind of like it. But again, having my box wirelessly right up on my dash, it's pretty easy for me. If I'm like, getting a little hot, just reach up, turn it down a little bit. But personal preference. But again, at the time of this video, unavailable. So we've got a couple different manual controller options, as you can see here. But I really want to make clear, this controller right here, and we sell this individual, but we also sell this in a kit. The only manual controller that also has that wireless connectivity brain inside is the one you're looking at right here. So in order to get this to work, you've got to also have this exact manual controller. Again, if you want to get the kit, it's available in the store, or you can piece it out. Now, we got that out of the way. These are your other options, because this is a bit bulky. So if you wanted to slim down, you could certainly get something like this guy here. Now, with this one, it is smaller, but as you can see, it's only one button, so it doesn't have two sides. But remember, with this single, you could still do two pieces of gear with a splitter. And then we've got this option too. It's more of a knob, a dial. Again, these are wired options. And with this one, we do make a dual. So it could do the 4 pieces of gear with the additional splitters if you wanted to use this guy. So they do have just a bit of a lead, so you could have it coming out of your jacket and maybe get enough to, you know, Velcro it to your dash panel on your tank or something like that, or right down near your seat or something. But again, that is a wired option. And so speaking of the wireless kit, it does come with the wireless controller. Again, this controller box right there. And then it comes with your pigtail that you can connect directly to your battery with the different size fuses. We'll get into that a little bit, and I want to talk about some bike wiring. All right, we are at my bike now, and I want to talk to you just a little bit more about wiring and some of the options that you have. Now, pre-24, most of the Harleys were not coming with stock OEM accessory plugs. As we look at my 24 here, you can see it's coming with 2 OEM accessory plugs, which are perfect for heated gear. But as you can see, they're very short and there's no extra to play with, which means they don't make it to where I need them to make it. So this is from Gerbing. We sell it in the store. This is just a simple male to female extension. And you can see I just taped it there, plugged it in, and then I run this right up here, my left side cover, pop that in, and I can, from my coat, I can reach down and plug that guy in right there. Another option, if you don't want that one, is we do sell this coiled one, male to female, and that's another option, or putting it in between components so you could maybe get your box up here on the dash. However you want to use that guy, I just want you to know that's available too. Now, if your bike is not coming stock with these accessory plugs, the way I always did it on my 14 and stuff, is this is also available from Gerbing. And this is just very simply your, battery terminal cable. You pull the cover here on your battery, and it's got a black and red, negative, positive. You hook it up, and then you can plug your gear. You can kind of route this same place where I routed it, and you can plug your heated gear in. It also has an inline fuse. Now you'll note in this bag is a multitude of colors of fuses. In your jacket is going to come this little card, and it's going to tell you what fuses to use with what setup you have. They're all different fuses, and you can see, so if I had a jacket and gloves, I do 6 plus 2, which equals 8. And then I would come over and choose the red fuse because that's between 7 and 8. And so there's all those different colors. So depending on your setup, that's a little different than some of the other companies do it. It's just kind of a safety thing. And that's because if you were just using, say, a jacket it's the number 6, and you're using like a 20 amp fuse, that might be too big and it might not trip if there was a problem. So that's why they have the specific fuses for your setup. All right, so while we're talking about wiring, I'm in front of my adventure bike here, my KLR. Now, same thing on your Harleys. They come with it or you put it on, and that is one of your simple SAE connectors. My battery tender is on this bike, but we also have connectors from Gerbing for SAE. It plugs right into this, which comes directly from your battery, of course, and then goes into your standard connector for your heated gear. So when I jump on the KLR, because it does not have the other connector, I have one of these guys, and just another great option. Okay, I know all that's a lot of information, and there's a lot of options depending on what you want for a setup. If you have any questions, hit us up over in the Law Abiding Biker store, and we will be glad to assist you further.
I was a boy with a plan that turned me into a man. And man, I keep winning and winning again. Whoops, I did it again. On business is right where I stand. Never been slipping on sand. And man, I keep winning and winning again. Whoops, I did it again. I was a boy with a plan that turned me into a man. And man, I